next year in order to stack the court? That's the other question. Let's bring in esteemed attorney and New York Times best-selling author of Guilt by Accusation, Alan Dershowitz, and also Mark Halperin, political analyst and author of How to Beat Trump, America's Top Political Strategist on What It Will Take. Alan, we're going to start with you. The idea of doing impeachment again to try and prevent this from happening, what is this? How does this work?
Well, Alexander Hamilton would be turning over in his grave. He said in the Federalist Papers that the most dangerous thing is to use impeachment for partisan political purposes and just use impeachment if you have enough votes to bring it about. This would be a total and complete abuse of the impeachment power. It is not an impeachable offense for the president to nominate somebody to the Supreme Court. Look, reasonable people can disagree about whether the president should do it, whether Republican senators should vote for it. After all, many Republican senators, including the majority leader, said back in 2016 that in the year of an election, you don't nominate a justice for the Supreme Court. You let the people vote. And if that senator and other senators stick to their principles of 2016, then maybe some senators will say, no, they won't allow this to go through. But the idea of impeaching the president to prevent him from making a nomination would totally distort the impeachment process.
Yeah. Mark, George Stephanopoulos pushed pretty hard on Nancy Pelosi about that over the weekend. We can take a listen to what she's been saying.
What can you do then? Some have mentioned the possibility, if they try to push through a nominee in a lame duck session, that you and the House could move to impeach President Trump or Attorney General Barr as a way of stalling and preventing the Senate from acting on this nomination.
Well, we have our options. We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now.
So, Mark, he's saying to stall. I mean, and is that the route you think they're going to take, and how does that work?
I mean, Rob, it's a manifestation of the frustration that Democrats feel because they can count votes and they know that Mitch McConnell and the president probably have the votes to pass out of committee and confirm a nominee. They're looking at everything as they say. But the notion, as the professor said, of doing this is improper constitutionally, and I think politically it would backfire. If they have any chance, I think, of winning the political fight here, leaving aside the confirmation fight, I think it's if they focus more, as a lot of Democrats would like them to do, on substance and policy, not on frivolous and unconstitutional process efforts to try to stall, which is something that they can't stop.
Well, I think one
go ahead.
Mistake he could make is if he appoints a very controversial nominee, somebody who might concern and upset some Republicans on the merits. And so it would be, I think, if he wants to get this through, he wants to maximize the chances of getting it through, he'd be well advised to pick somebody less controversial than some of the people currently on his list.
Well, I agree, Alan. That's what I was thinking when they talked about Lagoa, Barbara Lagoa, and how she's out of favor, according to Emerald. You think that would probably be the best one to pick because, she's a little easier on Roe v. Wade for the Democrats to digest. She's also Hispanic, so it's going to be harder, I think, for, those who are obsessed with identity politics to pick on her.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. I think Judge Barrett is going to be the most difficult, the most controversial because of her apparently very strong views on right to life. I mean, there are even some questions about whether she believes that right to life is a constitutional right. If that were the case, it would mean it would be unconstitutional for states to pass a pro-choice legislation. I doubt she would go that far, but some of her writings point in that direction.
Yeah. Mark, I want to ask you about this idea. Joe Kennedy, congressman from Massachusetts, talking about the idea of packing and stacking the Supreme Court in 2021 as a way to get even if they do try to push this thing through. He wrote, if he holds a vote in 2020, we pack the court in 2021. It's that simple. What exactly has to happen for them to be able to do that? I mean, I would imagine there's a pretty strong majority needed to add seats to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, look, you don't need, it's not in the Constitution, the number of justices could change, but I think this is another process argument that Democrats are making out of concern that they can't stop Mitch McConnell and the president from getting 50 votes plus the vice president to confirm a nominee. So it's possible that if Joe Biden won and Democrats took back the Senate, it's possible they would do this, but Joe Biden himself has been very cool to the idea, and there are a lot of people who are institutionalists who say, well, it can be done, it shouldn't be done, and that's not just on the Republican side. On the question of LaGoya, I think the strongest argument for her in some ways is she recently got 85 votes for confirmation.
Yeah.
And I think the professor's right. The most important thing for the president here is to nominate someone who doesn't add new controversy to what is already going to be a controversial fight.
Somebody you can get in. Okay. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
As far as the packing the court, Roosevelt tried in the late 30s and it backfired.
Okay. All right. We're going to go into that a lot more later on in the show. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rob. Good to see you.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.